Hi, I'm Jiang. I'm the first year graduate student from industrial design. Now I'm working on a project which is supported by the National Science Foundation, and this project is aimed to transforming taxonomic interfaces using art, design, and an exploration of the qualities used to describe life. To put it simple, what we need to do is to find an much easier and more interesting way to describe a species. Also, we will help with the scientists working in this field and also make the system, which is PATO, more understandable even by non-experts. Well, my concept comes from those data because there are about 8.7 million species on Earth, and the number of human beings is much more than that. It's 7 billion. We know every person is unique, and so are species. Every day there are new species being discovered, so why not we just view species as human beings and we get to know them as we meet new friends? So my concept is about to view or treat those species as human beings. So we can use the same way we use to describe a person to describe a species. In China, we like to use 4 characters to describe a person, which is 衣, 食, 住, 行. 衣 means clothing, 食 means food, 住 means house, and 行 means behavior. So the 4 words is talking about what we wear, what we eat, where we live, and what we do. If we apply the 4 words to a species, it becomes the appearance of this species and what they eat and how's their habitat and what's their unique ability. If we talk about appearance of something, the first thing come to our mind would be color or shape. Let's look at this picture. Can you guess from this picture what the animal is? Well, maybe you have several answers, but the clue you get is not enough to reach a very clear answer because the most important element is missing, which is color. If I tell you this animal has 2 colors, black and white, do you now have the answer? Yes, it's zebra. So it suggests that color is really an important element for us to distinguish an object. We can use color to distinguish an animal and also plants. If I give you the 3 colors, what's a plant first come to your mind? Yes, you may have several answers, but the most obvious one would be the sunflowers. So what I want to address is that our human beings are really good at using color and we just unintentionally distinguish and memorize an object. Here it's animal and plant by its color. And color has symbolic meaning related to some specific objects. So it will be a good way for us to describe species. But if we encountered this situation, now we have these 2 animals, cow and zebra. So those 2 animals, they have the same color schemes, which is black and white. But how to differentiate them because they have the same color? I think one solution will be we can add in portion to the colors, which means the cow, it has much more white area than the black one. So the portion for the black and white will be 1, 2, 3. But for the zebra, it have very equal black and white areas. So the black and white portion will be just half and half. So it will be an interesting and efficient way to describe a species by its color with portion. The other part of appearance we're gonna talk about is the shape. If you play games, I believe you will have experience building another you in the game world. So this character customization system just enable us to create an unique character in the game world and make everyone different. For example, this picture is taken from the famous game World of Warcraft. It's a character building interface. So what you can do is firstly you can choose the gender and choose the race, and then you can start to play with the face, the hairstyle, the skin color, and even you can add in some accessories to the character, like you can make her holding a sword or holding a shield. So it's really interesting. Well, let's back to our topic describing species. We can just build our new species like what we do in the games. So for example, we start from the target species, which is an golden fish. And firstly, we want to choose its race. The race is illustrated by the simple geometric shapes. So what we want to do is just based on these simple shapes, we can keep adding different elements to it and make it getting closer and closer to our target species. So because the golden fish is an animal, so we start from the rectangular shape. Then we can select its size. And the hair just means color. It's the same we just talked about in the previous part. So we just choose the color and play with the portion. And now we get this color for the golden fish. So for the accessory part, because we start from the very simple geometric shape, I believe this shape will only represent the main body of some species, but for animals, it has legs, ear, fins, and tail, and for plants, it have leaves and root and petal. So we need to add these things to make it more complete. So for this, in this case, we just choosing fin and the tail. Now we get the symbol of our target creature, the golden fish. The other element we can use to describe a life is their habitat. To describe a place, the most accurate way is to use geographic coordinate system. And everywhere on Earth has its own coordinates, but these coordinates is just talk about location, and it has no meaning to our human beings. And I think our human will perceive those place in a more emotional way. So I think the most understandable way to do this is just asking, where do you find those species? Like, do you find it in the sea, in the forest, in the river, or in the volcano? So, and how's the weather is it? It's cold, it's hot, or windy, or drought? So I think we can use just using this simple symbol to describe a space instead of using very complicated location coordinates. The last element is ability. There is an interesting news. During an international ping pong competition, the Japanese TV is just using this kind of hexagon chart to describe every ping pong players based on their abilities and skill level. And basically there are 6 different abilities on the corner of the hexagon, and each ability are rated from 0 to 5 scores. So the scores you have will be linked to form a shape which cover part of the hexagon. And this guy, his name is Ma Long. He's now the best ping pong player in the world. So you can see his ability chart is a full hexagon, which means for every ability, he receives the full mark. So people always call him the hexagon warrior. Well, we can use this chart to describe the ability of some species. So we all know for plant animals, they have their unique ability. For the plant, we can use lifespan, cold resistance, drought resistance to describe them. And for animal, because animal is much different from plant, it can move, so we can use speed, power, and bite to describe them. So this is how we convert what we see into a vivid recording system. Well, here is a prototype I made for this project. It's a combination of the previous part we just talked about. So in the middle, there is a big window which will show the view, the symbol of this species. And at the top, we have 3 different status, which is habitat, food, and ability. And at the right, we have the status bar. If we switch to the habitat, the status bar will give the information, the symbol we use to describe this place. And the food is similar to the habitat one, but one thing we may need to add is, according to the food chain, some species will eat another species, so in the food status it will show the symbol of other species which may be eaten by this fish. So the last one is the ability part. If we switch to the ability part, it will show the hexagon chart